Hey guys, On the Edge Survival here. Today we're going to talk about a bug out bag, stay home bag or get home bag. Ideally your 72-hour backpack or bag that will carry your stuff in and certain supplies you'll need for a 72-hour period. My friend Daniel here is going to talk about his backpack and why don't you tell us a little bit about that?
Well, basically this is the North Face produces this pack. It's the Terra 40 and it's made for hiking. And if you notice when you turn the pack around, it has a lot of netting to keep you cool and padding. One thing I really like about this pack is it has very strong waist support. That's very important for carrying your load. One thing that I did do to this pack, one very minor adjustment, is I replaced all the cordage with 550 paracord because you can never have quite enough of that. Another option that we do have for the 72-hour pack is the Alice pack, and I'm going to let Andrew explain that.
Yeah, like he said, it's commonly known as the Alice pack. I've known it and referred it to as the rucksack for years, but this was at one time the military standard issue rucksack. As you can see, it's BDU pattern. There are other colors available. Basic backpack, it can be configured as an external frame or no frame. I have it currently configured as a no frame. I'm hoping to get a frame for it so I can configure it that way. It is better to have a frame on it. It balances out the weight better and it supports it a lot better than this configuration. A very large main compartment with 3 outer small compartments for things like your food, your water supply, and possibly some water gear. That's what we always used them for. It's a good backpack if you don't mind sticking out like a sore thumb as prior military or in the military or something like that nature. Moving downward from all our gear, the primary, outside of food and water of course, that you need for your 72 hours of travel time or downtime is some type of primary weapon system. Whether it be we recommend a semi-automatic rifle, whether it be AK or AR. If you're in an area where this is banned or highly restricted, you can always go to something like a bow and arrow. It's not your most traditional route, but it's a silent weapon. You don't. There's absolutely no restrictions that I know of on these type of weapons in any state. The arrows are reusable. You can hunt with them. You can use them as self-defense. It's not the most ideal, but in an end-of-a situation, it's better than nothing. Moving down, you always need to know where you're at any given time, whether that is by a GPS. We have 2 Garmin's here. One's relatively big, bulky. The other one's a smaller size, meant for a traveler or your hiker. Both good systems. If for some reason batteries are dead or the system, the grid is down, you always need to have some type of hard copy on you at all times. That being a map and compass. Here we have 2 versions of a compass. This is a basic Walmart brand compass. You can get it for about 10, 15, 20 bucks. This does the same thing generally that this does. This is more robust, and this is actually what the military uses. This is actually a military compass. This has a little bit more, I guess more versatile than this is. It's heavier, but it is more expensive. You have to keep that in mind. Always have a map of your general location and of the nation in case your bug out time takes you across state lines. Always have some type of first aid kit. This isn't much. Some basic band-aids, some Benadryl, some basic BC powder, Tylenol, ibuprofen, some painkillers, that kind of stuff. Like I said, it's not much, but it's something. We'll elaborate more on that in a later video. Moving on down, we have a light / heat source. Here we have portable stoves. They'll screw on to a propane tank similar to this. If you don't like the idea of lugging around multiple cans of propane in a stove, We always have the flint, rock, and steel video we have on our channel. It's a good source. You can create a very nice fire with that. It's also your light and heat source can also be separate. Here we have several flashlights. This is a Surefire E2D LED Defender. Fantastic flashlight. The con, I guess, what this would be is it is $150. But it's a really good flashlight. It has a high beam and a low beam. You can't see it a whole lot, daylight outside, but this is a good flashlight. Another one is the Streamlight Kotak 2L. It's lighter, it's smaller. It is least expensive. It's about 60 bucks. High beam, strobe, and a low beam. You can see it much, but it's a really good flashlight, really nice. Of course, you have your mag lights. These have a history surpassing any flashlight that I know on the market. They've been used for decades by the military and the police. Very robust, very versatile. They've gone from incandescent to LEDs. Very fantastic flashlights. And they are relatively inexpensive. You can find them for 10 bucks. You can find them all the way for $50, $60. Some type of gloves, hand protection. With every type of electric item you have in your backpack, you're going to need some type of backup battery. Here we have some CR123 batteries, specific for these flashlights here. You can use some AA's and AAA's, your common battery. You need some type of sleeping system. Here I have a hiker's backpack, compactable, great backpack, weighed down to 30 degrees. You can go lower than that, but you're gonna pay more money for it. You need some type of shelter. Here is a heavier, more robust, longer, multiple use type of sleeping shelter tent. It is incandescent yellow, so you can be seen if you need to be seen or want to be seen. You can camouflage it with some type of dirt or mud, that kind of thing, so you can camouflage it to a degree. Like I said, it's set up at night, sleep in it, pack it up in the morning, take it with you. It's a multiple use item. Of course, with everything here, I guess one of your primary items that you're going to need is some type of cord, whether it be fishing line, 550 cord, paracord, something. We recommend 550 cord or paracord. You can find it anywhere. You can find different colors. If you're a female, if you want pink, you can get pink. Here I have Kylie brand, that's what I like. We always recommend having some type of cord, because in a situation where if you don't have some type of shelter tent, you can find an old tarp or an old cardboard. You can always use this to rig you up some type of sleep system to shield you from the weather. From here, I'm going to hand it over to my friend Daniel, and he'll continue on.
So when we think about the 72-hour pack, one thing that we're going to have to consider is tools, and that includes knives. And we have several displayed out here for you. Now, we don't necessarily recommend that you have 7 or 8 knives in your pack, but do remember that 2 is one and 1 is none. It's better to have 2 good blades than just 1. But looking at what we have available here, this particular knife is made by Smith & Wesson, and it's more of a K-bar style knife, very handy and a lot of history behind that. This next knife is made by Gerber, and one thing I like to mention about these knives is I try not to use these knives. I try to keep the edges sharp, and I try not to use that so that I don't dull it, so it's ready when I need it. Another thing about this particular knife is it has a designed window punch built into the handle, and that's always a good thing to have, are tools that have multiple uses and purposes. It also has a lanyard hole that I've hung some 550 paracord on, because as we've said, you just never can quite get enough of that. This next knife that I have, we actually have a video on already out. This is the Puma White Hunter, and this is an excellent hunting knife, full tang, very durable. This next knife that we have is made by Browning, and this one's really good for field dressing and skinning and such, because it has a smaller blade, which allows you to get up into a carcass and make finer cuts that you need to be able to make in that particular situation. One thing to consider is your pocket knives, because they're easy to carry. This particular one's made by Benchmade, and it has a clip, which also makes it more handy and easier to access. One blade that we don't have laid out, but I'd like to mention, is the Swiss Army knife, and this is a fairly popular knife. And one thing to note about this is that a true Swiss Army knife is going to be made by Victorinox, and it should be printed out on the blade there. Next, we need some type of hatchet. This is one made by Gerber, and it is well used. We've used it quite a bit. It has one end that's fairly flat, that's handy for driving stakes and such. It is sharp, and if you notice by some of the scars on my hand, that proves that. And moving down, we're going to look at some of our multi-tool options. This one is a Leatherman, and these are all built around basically a pliers configuration. You have multiple blades and screwdrivers, and they're all a little bit different. And if I could, I'll get Andrew to explain this other Leatherman that he actually carried while he was overseas.
Yeah, like he said, it is a Leatherman. More specific, it's a Leatherman Mutt. SOCOM guys went to Leatherman and said, we need a multi-tool design for us. This is what they created. Again, like other Leathermans, it's geared around a pair of pliers, as your basic knives, your saw blades, your Phillips screwdrivers, your flatheads, that kind of stuff, some type of hammer punch, seat belt cutters, that kind of stuff. The basic things that a military personnel would want or need in their job. Like I said, I used this overseas, carried it with me every day. Anything I needed to do, it did. Ranging from tightening screws down to literally sawing through some wood. One day I needed to saw through some wood. Very handy and versatile tool.
Talking about tools, another type of tool is going to be a firearm of some sort. One for hunting and then possibly for self-defense. And we have two laid out here, semi-automatic and then a revolver. The revolver happens to be .357 Magnum, and the semi-automatic happens to be 9mm. The best sidearm that you can carry is the one that you can find ammo for. Moving up from the firearms, we have two different types of water purification. It's ideal to keep a bottle of water, if not some more, on you, but you're going to run out eventually. You're going to need a way to filter. This particular one is a water bottle that when you unscrew, you have a filter that when you drink through the straw, you pull water through the filter, which cleans it at that point. The next that we have is another filter that you pull the water up through the hoses, through the filter, and into your water bottle. Another good option there. If you notice, a lot of our equipment that we have out today, we also have carabiners connected to, and that's just going to allow us to attach these things to our packs more securely, and that's going to be less chance for us to lose pieces of equipment. Moving up, one thing that a lot of people don't think about when they're making their bug out bag, their 72-hour pack, is toiletries. And so we've included that. And notice our toiletries and our food, we both keep in waterproof bags because we definitely want those things to stay dry. And the toiletries are basically everything that you're going to have that you would use in the morning. Your toothbrush, your toothpaste, your deodorant, dental floss, shampoo, soap. Keep in mind with the shampoo and soap, you may not be in an area that's going to allow you to rinse very well, so it's good to get rinseless soap or soap and shampoo with a more of a neutral pH so that you don't itch if that were to dry on you. Notice we do have a camp towel. That's incredibly handy to have for multiple reasons. Moving up, we have toilet paper, great for starting fires and also for the intended design as well. Across from this we have food, different examples of food from noodles to oatmeal. This is a Mountain House brand, chicken breast and rib meat. And these are handy because all we have to do is boil water, pour it in, zip it up, and it will cook and rehydrate. Very good option. As far as how much water, how much food you should carry in your 72-hour pack, enough to get you through 72 hours, and that's going to be different with everybody. Speaking of food, we also have another option that I really like. This is a salmon in a tin pouch. You don't have to cook it, it's ready to go, although I do recommend heating it up. I think it's better that way. Above that we have our spork. You have a fork, a spoon, and a small attempt at a knife blade there, which is handy to have. And across from that we have the MRE option, which is an outstanding option because you can cook and heat your meal. It's all ready to go, and sometimes you have gum, and I think this one even has Skittles. And the world is much better when we can taste the rainbow. One thing that I'd like to add that we do have up here with the toiletries is also some type of mosquito repellent. DEET is usually what's recommended. That's a good thing to have, especially in the times of things such as West Nile virus. If we move down into the center, we're going to notice this is a small survival kit that I've put together. The container here is just a simple plain old fishing tackle box that I got at Bass Pro Shop. And in the top component of this box I've put some very basic, we do have a survival first aid kit, but this is some more contents, just some Benadryl, cough drops, Tylenol, some green tea mix in there. I also have a wire saw that can come in handy if you should need it. Contents that I put on the other side are going to be laid out here. Fingernail clippers and a comb, just some comfort items. We do have a candle that's going to be very handy in starting and rekindling your fires. Fishing tackle, fishing line, and a sewing needle. Should some of our clothing come torn or ripped, we can repair that with the line and the needle that I've provided there. We do have some electrical tape. We do recommend duct tape. We didn't have a roll out here to show you, but that is recommended. I also carry a few dollars worth of quarters with me in case you came across a machine of some sort. I would rather have it and not need it than to need it and not have it. A small mirror beside that. This here is just a very cheap product but has multiple uses. It's a whistle, it has a compass, a thermometer, and a magnifying glass. Just something to have. Beside that I have some matches in a waterproof container, and here's the most important thing, with matches and a way to strike them. We have that as well. Moving on to the right, we have, this is just a tube tent. It cost about $7. It's very simple. It's basically a tube of plastic with string, so you have a waterproof shelter. I have not slept in this particular one, but I have slept in a product very similar at Fall Creek Falls during a rainstorm. It did very well. Moving on, one thing that you do have to notice is that all these things are laid out on a tarp, and a tarp is very handy to carry with you. You can make shelters with it, a lot of different things you can do, possibly signal with it, and you can lay out your equipment just as we've done here to organize and see what you have and inventory what you have as well. And that's going to conclude what we have for today. And again, these are just recommendations for the 72-hour pack. You could obviously carry a lot more, and you could probably carry a lot less. But this is a basis to get you started, to get you thinking, somewhere to start so that you can continue on.